So let me start by saying good morning.
Good morning.
I hope everybody's doing well, and for those, I think now that we are nearing the end of January, we can still say this. I think the window is still open, but Happy New Year to everyone. All right. I want to welcome you to Coppin State University. For those who that this is the first time on our beautiful campus, welcome. And to our guests that I have with us here today, I am glad that you are here. I am Anthony Jenkins, president of Coppin State University, the University System of Maryland's urban HBCU. And today we assemble to announce the Connecting Minority Communities grant, which has been awarded to Coppin State University by the U.S. Department of Commerce and the National Telecommunications and Information Administration. The nearly $4 million grant will support the ConnectEagle Nation program. The ConnectEagle Nation program, led by Coppin State, is a multifaceted pilot program designed to address the critical importance of access to adequate broadband and the need to connect more Marylanders to an ever-changing technological world. Such efforts will ensure that residents have the opportunity to participate in the digital economy, education, telework, and helping communities attract new businesses. The ConnectEagle Nation program will look to achieve these outcomes through collaboration, outreach, and education, to create a new cyber apprenticeship program, launch a digital navigator program, provide access to electronic devices, and provide an assessment in technology and telehealth in both Baltimore City and Baltimore County. And I want to thank some of our partners who will be working alongside us throughout this effort. That is Empower, the Pratt Library, the Baltimore City and Baltimore County governments, as well as Wilson Innovative Solutions. And there'll be some more that will be named in the days and weeks to come. As an anchor university, nationally recognized for its academic programs in business, healthcare, psychology, social work, and STEM, Coppin is uniquely positioned to lead this important endeavor. And it is my hope that the Eagle Connection program will become a model to improve connectivity for urban areas throughout our country. Today, I am honored to be joined by a remarkable team of federal and state leaders who, through their unwavering commitment and leadership, continue to make investments in our state and the residents of our great state and helping move them forward. Today, we have Deputy Secretary of Commerce, Don Graves. We have Assistant Secretary of Commerce, Alan Davidson. We have U.S. Senator Ben Cardin. We have U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Congressman Kwasi Mfume. And I think everybody knows this next guy. The Governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. We also have with us Coppin State University Professor of Mathematics, Dr. Nicholas Eugene, who is the author of the grant. Thank you, Doc. In the audience, we're also joined by the Acting Director of the Office of Minority Broadband Initiative, Kevin Hughes. Is Kevin with? There you go, Kevin. Comptroller Brooke Learman. Did Brooke make it with us today? I know she was trying to get here. If not, hopefully she'll be with us soon. We also have Maryland Senator Antonio Hayes. who oversees the 40th district where this incredible university sits. And Senator Hayes is the author of the West North Avenue Development Authority legislation. And this ties into the work that we're going to be doing with that authority, Senator. So thank you. I know Mayor Scott was trying to make it, but I don't see him with us. I know he has something else he's working on today as well. But we also have with us USM Chancellor Jay Perman. Jay. And I want to thank each of you for your partnership, for your leadership, and your commitment and your belief in Coppin State University, and our efforts to foster greater upward mobility for the residents of Baltimore City and Baltimore County. So with that, I again welcome you. I thank you for being here. And now I invite Governor Wes Moore to the podium to share some remarks. Governor.
Thank you so much, and good morning.
Good morning.
It is a joy and an honor to be here back at Coppin. And first, President Jenkins, I just want to say not only is it great to see you, but congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership, because as we all know, grants aren't just given out. They're not just evenly spread out. It takes leadership. It takes vision, it takes foresight, and it takes having and knowing that we have the right partner to be able to do this work. And I think what this is, it's not just a recognition and a celebration of the students here and the hope of Coppin State, it's also a recognition of its leadership. And so to you, we say not only congratulations, but thank you for the leadership that you're providing and the faith that we continue to see in not just Coppin and not just in Baltimore, but in the state of Maryland. Bless you and thank you so much. Thank you. And I could not be more excited about this, because also it's good being back at Coppin. For those who know, I am here early and often. It should not be lost on anybody that the first university visit that I'm making as my pretty nascent time as being as the governor of the state of Maryland is right here at Coppin, and I'm proud of it. And I'm excited for it because, this is a place that holds a special place in my heart. This was really one of the first institution who welcomed me in our platform, Bridge to You, when we wanted to say we want to find better ways of supporting first-generation students who are trying to go to and through college. The first place that welcomed us in was Coppin. And so not only has this institution, this incredibly proud and prosperous and beautiful institution, does it have an important place in my past, it's going to have a very important place in Maryland's future. And we are going to make sure of that. I also tell you, part of the reason I'm so excited about this is, I think about the joy that I have of walking into this seat knowing that I have the partners that I do. That we have a federal administration and that who truly understands what it means to invest, who truly understands what it means to believe, who truly understands what it means to lead. And so the fact that we have an administration and frankly, Department of Commerce and Deputy Secretary Graves, it is an honor to be with you now and always, and thank you so much for being here. But it means so much to have federal partners who understand the power of presence, the power of showing up, and how much you all being here matters, because this is an institution that is not just in West Baltimore, it is of West Baltimore. And you all being here and your investment and belief in the work that's taking place here means the world. So I'm very lucky to have the federal partners that I have in this work. Bless you all, and thank you so much for your belief in this work. I'm thankful to have, as I always say, the baddest federal delegation that any governor could ever have. By the bad meaning good, for those who understand why I'm being disrespectful. I'm not being disrespectful at all. I am so thankful to have these partners in the work. Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, Congressman Nfume, and our entire delegation. Maryland is so blessed. so blessed to have champions and fighters in this work who are making sure that every single day there is never a question about who they're fighting for. They are fighting for us, and we are so grateful. Bless you both, and thank you, bless you all, and thank you so much for all you continue to do for all of us. And you know, I have to tell you too, another group I want to thank, in addition to our community members and our chancellor, bless you, great seeing you, is I'm blessed to have the legislative leaders that we have here, led by our Senator Antonio Hayes. It is important for all of us to remember that in this moment, when we're talking about the future of the state of Maryland, that in order for Maryland to thrive, it means Baltimore must thrive. In order for Maryland to achieve everything that Maryland can achieve over this next decade, it means Baltimore must do the same. And I told people on the campaign trail, I don't say that because I'm a Baltimorean. I say that because I'm good at math. It's the state's largest city. It's the heartbeat of so much of our growth and economic development, our innovation. We have to make sure that these type of initiatives and these type of, and our institutions are able to grow and thrive. And this initiative right here is not just a perfect example, it is going to be an important catalyst for that. This is Maryland's time. And so to be able to stand here in partnership with Baltimore City and Baltimore County, the Wilson Innovative Solutions, our friends over in Comcast, and the leadership that you all continue to show, bless you and thank you. And it's great to see Baltimore's homeboy, Roger Johnson, back, who never forgot where he came from, never. The National Forum of Black Public Administrators, the Enoch Pratt Free Library, NPower. This is what partnership looks like. This is how we get to work. And as a state, this is how we're going to win. We're here because we have a chance to not just celebrate, but a chance to advance the work and support President Biden's commitment to connect everyone in America, everybody, through affordable, reliable, and high-speed internet access. And it's important for people to remember why that becomes so important, because when we talk about a leave no one behind agenda that this state is going to have, you cannot have an innovative economy, you cannot have growing industries, and know that good portions of our population are not participating and do not have the capacity to participate because the basic functions they don't have access to. In order for us to actually fulfill a commitment to leave no one behind, it means that we have to equip all of our families and all of our communities with the tools to make that real. That's why this initiative becomes so important. That's why promoting digital equity and inclusion, it's not only the right thing to do, it's an essential thing to do. Knowing that when we're talking about being able to have internet access, that it goes beyond internet access. It's also about connectivity and improving education. Knowing that internet access is not just about internet access, that's also the place that for many people, they apply for benefits. They apply for jobs. Knowing it's beyond internet access, but it's about connectivity that promotes health and safety. Beyond internet access, it's about developing skills and training and workforce development. And it's exactly the kind of forward-thinking initiative and forward-thinking leadership that is going to make this Maryland's time to move forward. This will serve as a foundation for everything that we're working on and trying to get done. And Marylanders, whether you live in Western Maryland, or in Mountain Maryland, or in the Eastern Shore, or whether you call home Mondawmin, or Capitol Heights, or Walbrook, or Penn North, that every single Maryland needs to know that when we're pulling these initiatives together, that we see you too. And then when we're talking about growth and economic competitiveness, that we're speaking about you and your family as well. This is our time. These are the right partners. These are the right initiatives. This is the right team. This is the right place. So thank you on behalf of everyone in the state of Maryland, because the growth that we will see from this initiative will ring far and wide, and so every single Marylander will know and will hear that you all have got our back, and we've got yours. So I'm honored to be able to turn the podium and the microphone over to our leader, the leader of our federal delegation, and someone who has consistently shown up and shown us just how valuable and important this state is in the larger conversation about our nation's future. I turn the microphone over to my friend, Senator Cardin.
Governor Moore, thank you. It's the first time I've had the governor introduce me for a long time in the state. Dr. Jenkins, congratulations. What Governor Moore said is correct. These grants, $4 million. Congratulations to Coppin and your leadership. These are very competitive grants. Congratulations. We have a lot to celebrate. We're celebrating Governor Moore's 12th day in office. And we're celebrating the Biden administration's commitment to social opportunity and justice for all Americans. Governor, I'm glad you mentioned Broderick, because I remember during President Obama's days, we had some challenges in Maryland. And it was Broderick Johnson who brought us all to Washington, brought all the agencies together so that we could have an all-government approach at the federal level to help our city. That's what the Obama administration meant. And that's what the Moore administration is doing in Maryland. Leave no one behind. Thank you, Governor Moore, for your commitment to all Marylanders. And you have a great partner in President Biden. As I was telling Secretary Graves, this is the warm-up act for the president coming here a little bit later today. We got President Biden joining us today, and I want to acknowledge Secretary Graves and Secretary Davidson for your, every time Secretary Graves comes to Maryland, this is not his first visit, he brings money. Come back, come back. But this is opportunities for all, and I couldn't be prouder, and Governor Moore, thank you for acknowledging my federal colleagues did such an incredible job representing this region. I'll talk a little bit more about Senator Van Hollen when I turn the podium over to him, but Senator Mfume and I started in the House of Representatives together a few years ago, and we've been great friends ever since. He does an incredible job representing Baltimore in the Congress of the United States. Thank you, Congressman Mfume, for everything you do to help our community. A key part of Team Maryland. Senator Hayes, thank you for your leadership at the state level. And let me explain what we're doing here, because we really want to make opportunity for all. President Biden's record has been incredible about including all Americans. It started with the American Rescue Plan. COVID was not an equal opportunity in causing misery in this country. And President Biden reached out to make sure all communities got the help they needed in dealing with the COVID, with the American Rescue Plan, and helped our state and local governments so they could provide the essential services. Then the Inflation Reduction Act took on climate, because climate change is a challenge particularly to vulnerable communities, and healthcare costs. This is the Biden administration reaching out to all Americans. The Chip and Science Bill to give economic future. And we'll talk about the Safer Communities Act that dealt with gun violence and the challenges we have in mental health and behavioral health. And we'll celebrate a little bit later today in Baltimore the infrastructure bill that had a major component for social justice to deal with removing lead pipes that affect so many vulnerable communities. Reconnecting communities, we know that on Franklin-Marbury Corridor. This is what the Biden administration has stood for, opportunity for all. So I'm not surprised that you're here today to announce this grant at Coppin State University. You recognize the values of our HBCUs. If we really are going to have internet for all, You've got to reach the communities. And how do you reach the underserved communities? Utilize the HBCUs. They give you the connections you need, the credibility you need to have effective programs. This is a great investment in opportunity for all, leaving no one behind. So we are so proud to be your federal partners in this and recognize that we have incredible opportunities in this state due to the leadership at our federal level with President Biden, with Governor Moore in the State House. We're proud to be on this team and on this journey. So we're going to be looking for some other creative ways. Secretary Grayson, you can come back to Baltimore with another check. We'll put it to good use. And the person who makes sure the money is in the checkbook is my colleague in the United States Senate, Senator Van Hollen. He has been such a leader on so many issues. He's fought for justice globally, and he's fought for justice here in Baltimore and Maryland. And he's used his position on the Appropriations Committee to deliver on those commitments. I'm proud to introduce my colleague in the United States Senate, my seatmate, Senator Chris Van Hollen.
Well, it's great to be here with all of you and with my friend Ben, our friend Ben. I want to thank Senator Cardin. As Governor Moore said, he leads Team Maryland as the senior senator and brings the House members and the senators together to make sure that we are one team fighting for the good of our people and the good of our state of Maryland. So if you could join me in thanking Ben Cardin again, and Kwasi Mfume, you know, he was in the Congress. I'm so glad after he took a break, he decided to come back. We are fighting every day, and Kwasi Mfume has been at the forefront of that effort. Thank you, Congressman Mfume. President Jenkins, it's great to be back with you here at Coppin State University, back with Eagle Nation, your whole team here. Your whole team, including Professor Eugene and all the folks who helped pull together this proposal. I remember when you were sworn in. I knew you were going to hit the ground running, and my God, you have never stopped. So thank you very much for your great leadership. I'm so proud to be here, and as Senator Cardin said, it is refreshing for us to be here with the governor of the state of Maryland, our newly sworn in Governor Wes Moore. Thank you so much for your leadership and your team, and we're looking forward to working with you. I told the governor I could see how he got to work very quickly, announcing important tax benefits for those who've served us in uniform, our veterans, and I know he's going to lead us into a great Maryland future, along with a great Senate and House in the state of Annapolis. Senator Hayes, it is great to see you. Thank you for your leadership as well. And from our federal delegation, Deputy Secretary Graves, as Senator Cardin said, this is not your first time in Maryland or your first time in Baltimore. We always love it when you come and keep coming back. And Assistant Secretary Davidson, thank you. And I also want to salute my friend Roderick Johnson. So, look, I think we've all recognized that access to high-speed internet is to the 21st century what electricity was to the 20th century. It is absolutely essential. And if anybody had any doubts before COVID-19, everyone learned quickly during COVID-19. When Zoom became a verb, when more and more people went online to get their health services, and it also exposed, as we saw how universally important it was, it also exposed the huge gaps that we knew were there, but I think also propelled us to say we're going to close those gaps. When it says internet for all, we mean it. That's another way of saying no Marylander and no American will be left behind when it comes to internet access. And that's what this is all about, because as the governor said, it's about a lot more than just getting on the internet. If you can't get on the internet and navigate the internet, you are locked out of an enormous amount of opportunity. Whether it's seeking jobs, whether if it's a small business, creating income to help support your small business, it is essential. Just as being able to turn on a switch and have electricity was essential to progress in the 20th century. And we worked hard across the country to make sure that every American was connected to electricity, and we need to finish the job when it comes to making sure that every Marylander and every American is connected to high-speed internet. Now, we were here not that long ago. I think it was about a year ago, actually. Mr. Deputy Secretary, you were here in Baltimore. And we had a meeting with a number of the leaders of HBCUs at that time. And we talked about exactly this issue. It was after we had passed a series of legislation to provide a lot more federal resources for high-speed internet, including the $268 million for Connecting Minority Communities program. And it's great to see you back again, not just because it's always good to have you in Baltimore, because what it tells people is when you were here about a year ago, it wasn't just a photo op. It wasn't just words. They were listening, they were planning, and they made the decision because of the brilliance of Coppin's proposal to make the grant that brings us here today. And when people see government in action where people deliver, it restores faith and confidence in the system. And that is what you and the Biden administration have been doing as you bring us together, recognizing that as this plan, you need a device, you need to connect to high-speed internet. You also need to have it affordable. Doesn't do any good to have a connection if you can't afford it. And you need to know how to use it. And the plan that Coppin has put together will address all of those issues. So it's great to be with all of you. Mr. President, thank you and your team. It's great to see the Chancellor and the team from the University of Maryland. It's great to see Team Maryland. All of you are part of Team Maryland, and what we're here to do today is to make sure every Marylander has a fair, equitable chance at connecting to the internet, because connecting to the internet is connecting to opportunity for all. Thank you all very much for being part of this. And now let me bring up somebody who's been on the front lines in this effort from the very beginning in the fight for equity in all its dimensions, including what brings us here today, Congressman Kwasi Mfume.
Hello. You're at that part in the program where everything that can be said has been said. And when you're at that part of the program, you just want to say, let the church say amen. Amen. However, I've got a few things to say, and as a comedian once said, I'll be brief no matter how long it takes. So, I want to thank all of you, and certainly thank President Jenkins for the opportunity and the invitation to be here. And if I can go out of my role for just a moment, Mr. President, as chairman of the Board of Regents at Morgan State University, I speak on behalf of myself, the board, and your colleague, David Wilson, in saying how happy we are for this success here at Coppin, because every time there is another success at an HBCU, it represents potential successes for others. So thank you for kicking this door down. I'm going to go back across town, see where my grant writers are, and see, see if there's anything left. And thank you, Chris, for those kind words, and to you, Ben. We really do have a partnership. And I can tell you, you can look at some states around the nation, and you just don't see the same thing. You see a lot of division, a lot of backbiting, a lot of name-calling, but Ben Cardin, Chris Van Hollen, and Kwesi Mfume are like fingers on a glove. And you don't want us to make a fist, because when we do, we will hit, and we will hit hard, to do the things that help our communities. I want to thank both of you for the opportunity, again, Ben, to serve with you, and the opportunity, Chris, obviously, to serve with you. Now, Mr. Governor, you know your son might have a future in show business, huh? I said, James, what's going on? It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here as our governor. It's good that the culmination of all these many, many months for you and your family and the sacrifices paid off. But most of all, it's good for Maryland. We're on the right trajectory. We've got the best leadership we could have in the State House. And when you look at your ability to work with leaders there, and particularly this young man right here, who is, you know, he's the proud father of a little teeny bouncing baby boy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I see why they have kidnapping laws, because every time my wife and I see him, we want to take him home. But Antonio is going to be, as you know, just a lifesaver in the House of Delegates. And so congratulations. Needless to say, this delegation is going to work with you in every way that we can. Now, to the two secretaries that are here, assistant, deputy. I appreciate both of you being here. I'm going to single out Secretary Graves and just correct the record that the reason, Ben, he brings money here every time he comes, and Chris, is that he's my fraternity brother. He wants to make me look good. So he'll be back again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Broderick, sitting here in his current role, will tell you that this community and himself and myself are just kind of wedded. We all came out of this neighborhood, and we worked this neighborhood. I still attend church right around the corner at New Shiloh, so I drive through here every Sunday and sometimes during the week. Broderick was selling clothes at a clothing store, and I would write the name Cookie. It was called Cookies. See, only Baltimoreans will know that joke. And I was pumping gas across the corner and down the street at Poplar Grove and North Avenue, but that's how you came up. You did things in the community. You tried to stay out of trouble. You worked hard. You played by the rules. You love your country. You cherish your faith. You respect your elderly, and you find a way to keep moving things ahead. And I just want to say that because I would be remiss if I did not point out that while we love this community, we are also reminded of the legacy and the lessons of this community. In just a couple of months, we will celebrate, sadly, the 8th anniversary of the Baltimore uprising, when Freddie Gray was murdered, and the epicenter was right up the street here at Penn and North, and things just blew up. But they were blowing up to draw attention to the fact that this was a community, and still is, that really does need the work, the attention, the love, the dollars, and the support of everybody. And I guess with the passing now of Tyree Nichols, it's come to mean even more. So I am particularly pleased, Dr. Jenkins, that when I saw you being in line to get this money and the money being finally let, thanks to our secretaries and thanks to our president and thanks to the delegation here, I'm particularly heartened to know that you did not make the decision just to dump all of the money in this building, that you are dumping it and putting it and placing it throughout the neighborhoods in a community that desperately needs internet access. And so whether it's Coppin Heights, where we sit now, or Walbrook Junction up the street, or Easterwood over there, or Mondawmin over on that side, or Penn North, these persons who live there, these residents who stayed there, these seniors in many respects and young people who call that home will have an opportunity now to have digital access and access to the internet and to all that it holds for them. It will unlock doors. And all I can think about is the Enoch Pratt Library down here on North in Pennsylvania, and my hopes is that they will benefit. So this is particularly the kind of application that gets my attention when it comes back to a recipient and then when it goes out into a community to help and to help all people. So thank you all for allowing me to say a few words. I'm just happy to be here. Always happy to be here with my governor. I can say that, But let me leave that alone. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Congressman. I'm Alan Davidson, the Assistant Secretary of Commerce, and what a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you, and congratulations, President Jenkins and Coppin State community for your success and for welcoming us today. And Governor Moore, Senator Cardin, Senator Van Hollen, thank you for your dedication to connecting all Marylanders, all being the underscored line here, to high-speed internet service. As a Marylander myself, my kids are Marylanders, I'm especially grateful. And I'd also like to give a shout out to somebody. We would not be here today doing this if it were not for him and his team, and that is Kevin Hughes, sitting here in the front row. He is the director of our Office of Minority Broadband Initiatives. They are the people who have been spearheading this project, and really, like as I said, we would not be here today if it weren't for him and his team. So thank you, Kevin. And I'll just do a quick computer scientist to computer scientist shout out to Dr. Eugene, because thank you for a great application, made Kevin's life a lot easier. So today, I mean, we are here today in 2023, and there are still thousands of families across Maryland and millions of families across America that don't have access, the devices, the skills that they need to be able to thrive in the modern digital economy. We have been talking about the digital divide in this country for over 20 years. And now, finally, thanks to the leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris, leadership of our great congressional delegation and bipartisan action in Congress, now finally we have the resources to do something serious and structural about closing that digital divide. We call this Internet for All, and we really mean it. Internet for all. And HBCUs like Coppin State and other minority-serving institutions, you play a critical role in getting that affordable, reliable, high-speed internet service and the tools that people need to use it into the hands of the people who really need it. The $268 million Connecting Minority Communities program is designed to connect people with the skills, the devices, the capacity that they need. And today I am pleased to announce this is part of something bigger. Deputy Secretary is going to talk a little about Coppin State, but we're announcing today as well from the Biden and Harris administration, we're awarding Connecting Minorities Communities grants totaling more than $33.5 million to 12 other schools too across the country. You'll be glad to know that Coppin State's is the largest, by the way. And these grants they'll expand hubs for technology use, expand adoption in local communities, give classroom tech the upgrades that they need, increase digital literacy skills in the community so people actually know, as the Senator was saying, can have the tools to be able to get online, not just to be online, but to actually thrive online. And we know that equity and fairness is being brought by these programs can't wait. That's why we are also announcing today that we are going to award all $268 million by the end of this first quarter of this year so that we can get this money out the door and into the hands of the people who need it. So I will just say, this is a moment of great opportunity, and this is connected to a much bigger project that we're working on. As Senator Cardin said, generations before us, I think it was Senator Van Hollen, I'm sorry, talked about electricity, right? Generations before us, brought electricity and water to everybody. They built the interstate highway system. This is our generation's big infrastructure moment, right? This is our chance to connect everybody in America, everybody in Maryland, everybody in Baltimore with the skills and the tools that they need to thrive in the modern economy. It is going to take a ton of work. It's going to take years to get it done, but what we're doing here today is a big step forward. And we are just so pleased and proud to be here with you, trying to make this dream of the internet for all a reality at last. So thank you. And I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, actually my boss, the Deputy Secretary Don Graves. And I will just say, our Deputy Secretary of Commerce has been, this will not be a surprise, a driving force for equity, diversity, and inclusion as a centerpiece of our work at the Commerce Department. He reminds us of it every day. His leadership has been incredible. I can't think of anybody better to tell us more about today's award to Coppin State. So, Deputy Secretary.
Well, thank you, Assistant Secretary Davidson, for that introduction. Thank you for your partnership, your leadership. What folks don't know is that the Assistant Secretary, in addition to running the NTIA, National Telecommunications and Information Administration, he's not just the leader who sort of sits there and, commands. He actually rolls up his sleeves because he's really a technician at heart. So he gets into the weeds and makes these grants work because he understands how important they are to communities. And it's for that reason that I also want to thank President Jenkins for all that you and Coppin State are doing, for welcoming us, but for also understanding the transformative role that this university plays, not just in this neighborhood, in this community, but across the entire state. What you're doing is helping to transform communities, giving people access to information and opportunities that they wouldn't have were it not for you and the incredible team here at Coppin State University. Governor Moore, as I said when you came in, I am a very, very happy man to be with the new governor of Maryland, Wes Moore. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Congratulations on taking the helm of this great state. I cannot wait to be your partner in all of this. In fact, Marylanders should just know that he's already been twisting my arm to see what else we can do. And Senators Cardin, Van Hollen, and Congressman Mfume, just know that my expectation is that this will not be the last time that I am back in this great city, in this great state, bringing a checkbook to make sure that we continue this effort at driving opportunity, driving leadership in a state that has long been known as a leader in a range of areas, and I think now as a leader in equity, in accessibility, in inclusion. At the Commerce Department, we have one overarching goal, and that's to improve America's competitiveness. And to improve our competitiveness so that workers and companies of all sizes can succeed in the global economy. Something that we did when we came in to this administration, the Secretary and I changed that mantra, the mission statement, if you will, for the department. We added in every community. Improve America's competitiveness in every community so that our workers and companies of all sizes can succeed in the global economy. Equity is central to meeting that goal. Equity is essential to everything that we do at the Department of Commerce. And as you heard from the Assistant Secretary, our Internet for All initiative is going to create unbelievable opportunities. It's not just hyperbole, what we've all been saying. It's creating huge opportunities. It's going to improve lives for everyone, not just for men, who happen to be sitting up here, but for everybody, including men, women, every creed, race, from every community in the country, particularly those communities that have been left behind. We're going to bring, as you've heard, and as the President said from the campaign on into the administration. We're going to bring affordable, high-speed internet to everyone in America. And I'm going to come back to why that's so important. I want to thank this congressional delegation, the senators and the congressmen, not just for what you do every day, but particularly for the bipartisan infrastructure law. Were it not for their leadership, I don't think we would have gotten this done. Yes, it's bringing more than $1 trillion to reinvigorate our infrastructure. But importantly, it has this component that's going to make sure that everyone has high-speed internet at their home, at their business, and has the tools that they need to be able to utilize it. In December, Maryland received almost $6 million to begin planning for this Internet for All initiative. And that was just the start. It's going to help us ensure that we get this right. Every state is going to be able to receive $100 million out of this initiative as a minimum. It also includes, the initiative also includes $3 billion in funding for the Digital Equity Act, which is promoting digital inclusion and equity for communities that have been historically unserved or underserved when it comes to high-speed internet access. And as the Assistant Secretary explained, we're announcing 12 new grants through the Connecting Minority Communities program. We're thrilled that Coppin State is getting this nearly $4 million grant for its ConnectEagle Nation project. With that funding, Coppin State is closing the digital divide here in Baltimore. But let me get back to what I said earlier about why it's so important. As the Congressman mentioned, this isn't about what we talk about up here in theory, you know, everyone's going to be connected. No, it actually is going to make a difference. I grew up in neighborhoods just like the Congressman and my friend Broderick, where you worked hard, you tried your best, you played by the rules, and that didn't always turn into opportunities. It didn't mean that you were going to be successful. I think about my dear friend who, you know, no fault of his own, his life was taken by senseless gun violence as he was planning to head out to the shore here in Maryland. He was going to spend the weekend enjoying the shore, but he lost that opportunity because of senseless violence, and we're going to do something about that. The president's committed to it. But I also think about all my friends that I grew up with who never had the opportunity to do something like I'm doing today, like so many of us have had the opportunity to do, simply because they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the opportunity, they didn't have the connections. That's what this is about. It's about positioning the country to succeed in the future, allowing every American to have that chance that they don't have right now. This is not about doing something good because it makes us feel good. This is about making this country more competitive for the future. We are in a changed environment across the globe. The global competition is unbelievable. The rest of the world is trying to catch up quickly, and they are going to pass us if we don't act quickly. And that's what this is all about. That's why this congressional delegation, why this grant is so important, because it's going to allow us to make sure that every person in this community, every person in this state, and communities across the country have the ability to compete against those folks across the globe who are trying to eat our lunch. The president and the vice president have committed, we're not going to let that happen. That's why this is so important. And the Coppin State grant is going to go to purchasing laptops. That cyber apprenticeship program that the president talked about, launching that new digital navigator program so that community members can have the access to affordable, and I stress affordable because it's important. It's not just about getting access. It's about making sure that you can afford to get that access to it. And the devices that they need. So it's the laptops, it's iPads, it's all the devices that many of us take for granted. So they can use that to access the high-speed internet that we know is important, and they get the skills they can use it. We know Coppin State is going to be a tremendous steward of this funding, and we're really proud and pleased to be celebrating with you today. If we work hard and work together, and I stress working together, Governor, I know that's something you talk about, We're going to close the digital divide and increase the opportunity for everyone to succeed in the 21st century global economy, both here in Baltimore and across the entire country. And with that, I will, I think, turn it back to President Jenkins. Yes, thank you so much.
I want to bring up Dr. Eugene to say a few words. He may not have known I was going to call him up, so
I didn't know I was going to speak,
right.
but
I'm going to give you 2 minutes. A minute. Okay, all right. But let me tee this up, because I greatly appreciate when we talk about partnership and the hard work. As the president, I get some of the credit and all of the other stuff that folks don't want to deal with. But Dr. Eugene, when we approached him about helping us write this grant, he jumped in with both feet. He didn't complain, he didn't push back. He was really willing to get on board and to help us with this grant. And we were at a time when we were up against the clock. And so just before you spoke, or me inviting you up here, I just wanted to personally thank you. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for taking on this challenge. And Team Coppin, this is the power of we. Because in that proposal, he had to talk about the significance of this institution and what we do in healthcare and in business and in STEM, and how as an anchor university, we have been transforming lives and punching above our weight since 1900. See, all of those things came to play a significant role in the grant being funded. So with all of that backdrop, and as the author, I wanted to thank you publicly, and I wanted to give you an opportunity to say a few words, all right?
thank you.
Thank you, okay?
Good afternoon, everyone. So I guess I didn't know I was going to speak, so it's not like I'm prepared. But I just wanted to thank some of the partners that work with me. I mean, doing this, it was really that we use data that was available. We used the American Community Survey to sort of do a needs assessment on broadband, so it's just about the partners, and so one of the things I think we need to remember is that we have people that were not part of the grant, but who were instrumental in helping us write this grant, and the one person I think I'd like to thank is Dawn Costello. I think she was so instrumental. You don't see her name out there, but she was so instrumental in just putting us together and throwing out some of the ideas. I mean, we talk about the computers that are needed, but there's also this part about educating community members about all the federal help that's out there. For example, I didn't know about the emergency broadband benefit, the lifeline. I didn't know about this, and Dawn talked to us about it. And that's where the idea came about the digital navigators to partner with Pratt Libraries. So that was extremely important, and I know you brought some of your partners there with us, Broderick, Michael, and Tiffany. So thank you for coming here. I think Dwayne left already because he's going to do the STEM tour. Actually, Dwayne Wilson was my professor at UMBC. So maybe about 5 years ago, Freeman Rabowski called me and he said, "Hey, listen, I want you to do this master's degree in cybersecurity, so we could bring a cybersecurity program here." And so going to UMBC, I ended up meeting Dwayne, and so Dwayne will be doing part of this cybersecurity for us, the training. But in all of this, I think the most important thing for us is that we'll get an opportunity to leverage some of the human resources and the human capital that we'll have here. And I'm really excited about the opportunities to be able to leverage that human capital. So the first person that I had to put on that advisory council was Dawn. I think I will need her help. And there are some other members. And then I will not be the director of the program, but I must recognize Steve Dillis also, who will be the director of that program. Steve is right back here. So you'll have a lot of work to do, Steve, and Steve helped me out write this grant a lot. We spent some sleepless nights at home, and so thank you, Steve. We've got Stacy Rogers, again, Kendra Pollock from Empower. So, I mean, we had a bunch of partners. So, you know, if you're a partner on this grant, please stand up so you could be recognized. And with that, so please stand. Yes, Dimitri, stand. So these are some of the partners. And with that, again, I'd like to just thank everyone, Governor Moore, Deputy Secretary Graves, and Assistant Secretary Nicholson, thank you. And to our senators, honorable senators, and for me, President Jenkins, thank you all.
All right. So that wraps up the formal piece of our presentation. We will open it up for a few questions. And so if there are any questions that you would like to pose from the audience or from the media, we would like to take the opportunity to answer those questions now. Governor, you have to get out of here? All right. See, always at the Q&A time, right? All right. Any questions that anyone may have about the grant or anything surrounding the grant? If Dr. Eugene or myself can't answer those questions, we will find the answers for you. So, any comments or questions? Yes.
Where will you be facilitating this program?
So, Doc, you want to talk just a little bit about the framework and the structure? Because there'll be multiple places where this will take place. It won't be one central location.
Right. It's not going to be one central location. For example, the Digital Navigator program is going to be run through Enoch Pratt Library. You know, we have the Cyber Apprenticeship program. Part of it will be at the institution in the Science and Technology Center, but part of it will be online also. So it's going to be everywhere. Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
It was mention of devices. How will schools or people get access to that?
We've set some eligibility criteria, so it will be based on eligibility criteria. But we also have a marketing plan on how we will inform the community members about the devices. And so I'll leave part of that work to Mr. Steve Dillis, who will be the director. Yes.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, hearing none. I do, before I get out of here, again, thanks, Doc. We can, we will end the program at this point. I do, before I get out of here, want to acknowledge my cabinet. Let the President's cabinet please stand and be recognized. All of my world-renowned faculty, Stand up, deans. I see y'all back there. Stand up real quick and be recognized. All right. All right. So again, it is an honor to have had you on our campus. I cannot again thank you all enough for the support and the confidence and the belief in Coppin, our mission, and what we do as an anchor university. So thank you all very much. With that, that ends our formal presentation today. We'll take one more picture, I believe. Am I doing that right? My people are not telling me to turn right or left, so you know I get lost. So we'll take one more photo and then we will get out of here. Thank you all very much. Okay. If you right from where you're seated, if you'll come closer. Okay. All right. Bring the cast and split them on both sides.
Otherwise, they're going to be blocked out.